in Baton Rouge as we welcome you to We Back Pat as we honor Pat Summitt and her continued impact on women's basketball. Tonight, a matchup between the last two national champions, South Carolina and LSU.
It is not unfinished business any longer. South Carolina has captured its second national championship. Kim Mulkey in year two has orchestrated a turnaround for the ages. LSU has captured its very first national championship.
You are watching the SEC on ESPN. You can see Kim Mulkey walking out, revving up the crowd here in Baton Rouge moments ago as we welcome you courtside. Hey everybody, Ryan Rucco alongside the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. We are just delighted to be with you this Thursday night on ESPN. Rebecca, this atmosphere, it is electric, and it has felt this way since this morning.
Regular season conference games don't get much bigger than this. Something is at stake, and that's first place in the Southeast Conference, but you're certainly not going to get a better in-conference environment than what we've seen so far today.
Now, when it comes to LSU, this is a team with a couple of players on the interior who know how to go crash the glass. You see the numbers for Angel Reese and Anissa Morrow.
This is an LSU team that is loaded with talent, but I think the most talented player on the team might be freshman Michaela Williams, not only because she can score 16.5 points a game, she is incredibly efficient. Shoots 50% from the floor, 44% from the three-point line, and she has ice water in her veins. In their close game against Ole Miss, LSU was up one. She got this steal. Look at this. You usually see this in the NBA. That's how much confidence this young woman has to stop and pull up and hit that big shot.
Meanwhile, South Carolina undefeated, the only Division I team remaining to be undefeated. And they have a lot of depth. They also have a great inside-out combination.
Incredible. They have efficiency on the inside. They have efficiency on the perimeter. They lead the nation in paint points per game, and a big part of that is Camila Cardoso. She is their separator. She's averaging 13 points, 11 boards a game, and a bunch of blocks as well. And this season, an incredible complement to the inside game is the three-point shooting of South Carolina. They're first in the nation, shooting 44% from the. A big part of that is Tahina Paopao, who also leads the nation at 56% from deep.
We know South Carolina had that incredible class they called the Freshies. You see what they did over the previous 4 seasons, and the way the offense has improved this season across the board dramatically, especially from three-point range, as we send things over to another Hall of Famer, Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, this crowd is electric and insane. The best compliment I heard walking into the building today, I heard students outside say, this feels like a football Saturday in Baton Rouge. Ticket prices over $126 on average. It took over $1,300 to get into the building tonight for some lucky fans. People have come from hundreds of miles away, and this crowd is loud, electric, and ready to rock.
And there's a lot on the line here, Holly. LSU has won 29 straight home games. South Carolina has won 27 straight road games. Number 1 South Carolina, number 9 LSU. Here we go from Baton Rouge.
Certainly a matchup to keep an eye on is Angel Reese on Camila Cardoso. Angel Reese, vitally important for her to stay out of trouble, out of foul trouble, but staying aggressive.
Here is Reese coming up with a steal as she fronted Cardoso. Reese through the lane, can't lay it in. Wanted a whistle, did not get it. Reese makes more free throws per game than any player in Division I. Unable to get a trip to the line there. And South Carolina on the board first. Bree Hall, as you take a look at that starting lineup for South Carolina. Here's Flau'jae Johnson. Around the Reese screen, the pull-up is good.
That is what LSU loves to do. Get the ball to the wing, set the high ball screen. Great job by Flau'jae Johnson to drill it.
Flau'jae's game much improved. A sophomore who had a terrific freshman season. Here's Cardoso, double comes, Van Lith yanks it away. It'll be a held ball and LSU possession.
Great double by Haley Van Lith. She waited for the dribble, and that's when she came to attack.
Dawn Staley in her 16th season as head coach of South Carolina, two-time champion. Talked about this being a budding rivalry between these schools. South Carolina has won 14 straight meetings against LSU. That three is good. Anissa Morrow with the step back three, and Kim Mulkey fired up already.
Anissa Morrow only shooting 18% from three on the season.
Here's Kitts, the ball fake, the take, and the finish.
Did you see Angel Reese? She did not even come over to worry about getting potentially called for a foul there, which I think is smart. They need her on the floor, Ryan.
Here's Van Lith, the transfer from Louisville. It's taken a little bit of an adjustment, acclimating here to LSU. Trying to play the point more, where she was an off guard at Louisville, but no issues there as Van Lith sneaks in for two.
LSU is having a relatively easy time with South Carolina's ball screen defense right now.
Here's Hall over to Johnson. Johnson traveled.
LSU does not take or make a lot of threes on the season, and certainly not from their four position. So huge that Morrow hits it. Kim Mulkey's feeling that as well.
You almost need an ISO on Mulkey the whole game, you know?
The Mulkey cam?
The Mulkey cam. Here's Johnson. Johnson trying to get tricky in traffic. Flings it across. Williams. Back iron, no. Michaela Williams, one of the best freshmen in the country. A class that is loaded with transcendent talent as Kitts able to hook it in.
You see LSU sprinting back. Transition defense is so vitally important. Anytime you play South Carolina, they are fast, they are quick, they look to advance the ball.
LSU an early 7-6 lead on South Carolina. Here's Reese facing up, blowing by, reversing off. Trying to get it back. Cardoso knocked her away, and Kitts ends up with it. Angel Reese talked to us about trying to use her speed against Cardoso. We saw that on that possession, just couldn't quite finish.
That's where her advantage is in that matchup, is facing up and putting the ball on the floor.
That tapped out of bounds off the deflection from Reese. Well, Kim Mulkey in just her third season as head coach of LSU. An astonishing turnaround since she has taken this program over. Last year, just her second season, leading LSU to its first national championship. Pow pow. No. And Morrow the rebound.
All five players on the floor right now for LSU, when they get a defensive board, can bring it up themselves.
Here's Flaugier. Gives it to Reese. Reese lost it. Has Van Lith. Van Lith, the step back off the mark, and the weak side rebound to Hall. Raven Johnson pushing pace for South Carolina. Hall a deep three off the mark. South Carolina #1 in D1 in three-point shooting percentage. Williams pull-up is good.
A mid-range pull-up is as good as a layup for Michaela Williams. It is such a huge part of her game and does it so efficiently.
Her off-the-dribble game is so smooth. Here's Johnson motoring in, leaning, and hitting. Raven Johnson has had a tremendous sophomore season thus far. Shooting at 41% from three. A player who, as we saw with Iowa, you'd play completely off of a season ago. Morrow again. Well, that's foul money for LSU. First time she's hit 2 threes in a game this season. Kitts will answer. Chloe Kitts, we started to talk about it, Rebecca, but South Carolina has so many weapons from the perimeter.
And you have to just applaud Chloe Kitts waiting her turn. The improvement she has shown from a season ago to this season is remarkable.
I think that's a testament to Dawn Staley as well, that her players patiently waited and developed, seeking their opportunity, finally getting it with that graduating class and delivering thus far this season. And so far this game has delivered in the first quarter.
Michaela Williams getting out in transition is so good in the mid-range game, and her teammate Anissa Morrow has come with it here today from deep. Camila Cardoso says, "It's in my house," but still,
Welcome back to Baton Rouge. A good game here between LSU and South Carolina, the #1 team in the country. And the Gamecocks had a very special meeting on Martin Luther King Day 2 Mondays ago. Vice President Kamala Harris, who was in town to speak at the State House, stopped by Dawn Staley's practice. Dawn has just been glowing about it for weeks afterwards. She said it was such an incredible moment for her team to see the vice president on their court. Kamala Harris said, "Thank you for what you do on and off the court with excellence," and complimented the team on how they carry themselves. Dawn Staley said it's truly a dream come true.
An awesome experience for South Carolina, and I'm sure for the vice president as well, as Morrow finishes on the interior. She has 8 first quarter points. Chloe Kitts with 7 for South Carolina. Mylasia Full-Wiley, the electrifying freshman, into the game off the bench for the Gamecocks.
South Carolina shooting 71%. Turnovers have just been a problem for them so far. They have 3 already.
Here's Full-Wiley at 3, airmailed it, and Reese comes up with a rebound for LSU. Here's Williams left alone. No. Rebound knocked away by Johnson, and Morrow cleans it up. The effort from Flau'jae Johnson, and Anissa Morrow able to cash in as Pau leaves it short. Kitts gets denied. Williams, what a pass. Johnson, no. Here's Full-Wiley pedaling away from traffic. Full-Wiley zips in, stops on a dime, and traveled as she did. Women's college basketball is featured on ESPN Sunday starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Tennessee takes on Ole Miss in an SEC conference showdown. The Lady Vols have won 9 of the last 10 matchups against the Rebels and will look to extend their win streak in Oxford. Women's college basketball between Tennessee and Ole Miss Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app.
Ole Miss gave LSU all they could handle earlier in this season as well.
Sanaya Fagan into the game for South Carolina. Dawn Staley rocking the Everyone Watches Women's Sports hoodie from Together. And you know what? Dawn's right.
She is.
Everyone watch it tonight. Van Lith with 10 to shoot. Looking in for Reese. Draws 2. Reese clips it in. Plus the foul.
Angel Reese, really smart. What did we see when Cardoso was guarding her? She came, got the ball on the perimeter, and used her speed and quickness advantage. Here, Fagan on her. She posts up strong. The double team comes. Go ahead and flex. That was a powerful finish.
Well, Angel Reese leads Division I in free throw attempts and makes per game as she completes the three-point play there. That is the strength of LSU in general. They are by far and away #1 in the nation in free throw makes per game. In fact, the difference between them and #2, the same as the difference between #2 and #77 in the nation.
LSU's defense has been really good, and one of the ways they have been really good is taking South Carolina out of what they want to do. I mentioned they're getting back defensively in transition. One of the things that has made South Carolina so good and effective this year, Ryan, was sharing the basketball, making the extra pass, getting open looks for one another. We've seen a lot of one-on-one trying to create here so far in the first quarter from the Gamecocks.
No doubt the most hostile environment South Carolina's played in yet this season, as the foul is called against Ashlyn Watkins, trying to hang with Angel Reese.
Angel Reese is just so good at creating contact and using her body. Often it's after she's gotten the basketball right there. It was while she was posting up. It's going to be a battle in any time somebody is defending her inside.
Van Lith gets it in. Williams. Off to Morrow, back to Williams. Here's the freshman. The mid-range is true. Hand in her face. Doesn't matter. 10-point LSU lead, a 9-0 run. Hall missed it.
Again, another one of those kind of, one-on-one looks.
Here's Van Lith. Off to Reese. To the corner, Williams. A little too strong. Here's Johnson banking it in. See, the largest deficit that South Carolina's faced this season was 11 in a game they eventually won against North Carolina.
A season ago, when these two teams met in Columbia, it was South Carolina that got out to the 18-2 lead. Great job by LSU giving their crowd a reason to be involved.
Van Lith can't scoop it in, but got the foul. And Haley Van Lith will shoot two. Cardoso back in for South Carolina along with Tessa Johnson.
And LSU hasn't subbed at all. Especially how hard you have to play against South Carolina in terms of sprinting and defensive transition. Be interesting to keep an eye on LSU's fatigue.
Especially with how deep South Carolina is. Well, that is one of the strengths of the Gamecocks. South Carolina 4th in Division I in bench points per game as Reese comes up with the O board. Van Lith connects on a three, plus the foul away from the ball. And now LSU realizes their teammate Anissa Morrow's on the ground. They go rush and pick her up.
Two offensive boards here on the same possession. LSU leads the nation in offensive rebound rate. The ball goes in, and then Morrow, trying to get to the offensive glass, is fouled and finds herself at the free throw line.
So you have a chance for the unconventional combo 4-point play as Watkins picks up 2 fouls in very limited minutes, just 3 minutes. And Watkins goes to the line. LSU basketball. And Van Lith throws it away. Easy for Cardoso. Johnson's pull-up is short. Rebound knocked out of bounds by Reese. It'll stay with South Carolina.
Camila Cardoso doesn't have a single shot, and other than that one possession where she got double teamed inside, I don't know how many times she's touched it on the block. I don't think at all.
Kids, nasty crossover, rummages through and finishes. Chloe Kitts having a very big first quarter, 9 points now on 4-4 shooting.
Where would South Carolina be without her?
Van Lith harassed by Johnson. Off to Reese, her mid-range. No. Morrow, another offensive rebound. Williams, back iron, no. Another O board. A setup for Johnson. Her side-stepping three won't go. Another offensive rebound. How about Van Lith? No. Another? That one's knocked out of bounds. But LSU just dominating the offensive glass.
This looks like South Carolina a season ago and how they dominated the glass against most of their opponents.
Yeah, LSU this season #1 in Division I in offensive rebounding percentage. Kim Mulkey said that was LSU's key in this game. Dawn Staley said that was South Carolina's key to keep LSU off the offensive glass. They have 6-0 boards. Pow at the buzzer. Knocks in a three and cuts the deficit to 6 after 1. Holly Rowe will chat with Dawn Staley when we come back. A fired up Dawn Staley here in Baton Rouge. Well, Tahina Paopao has hit at least 1 3 every game this season for South Carolina. This one beats the first quarter buzzer, cuts the South Carolina deficit to 6. And moments ago, Holly Rowe catching up with Dawn Staley.
Well, Coach, one of your strengths all year has been moving the ball, sharing the ball. How do you improve that in the second quarter?
Move the ball. It's really simple solution. So, I mean, we got to meet the moment. We haven't met the moment yet, and it's okay. We'll settle down and get going.
Camila Cardoso has been a big piece of your offense. How do you get her more touches, or what do you need to do there?
And she's got to want it. It's plain and simple. Ask for the ball, catch the ball, go get us a bucket. If not, defer, kick it out. Let us get some threes up.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Well, Camila Cardoso in that first quarter did not score, averaging over 13 points per game this season. And even though it was a quarter mostly controlled from LSU, I'd imagine South Carolina has to feel pretty good being down just 6 at the end of it.
Certainly, because they did not play South Carolina basketball. They did not move and share the ball. They did not have a dominant presence inside. They did not clean up the defensive glass. All of those things that they can improve on here, all those things that are part of their identity this season.
Meanwhile, LSU did not sub in that first quarter, and their starters remain on the floor to begin the second.
And hitting the offensive glass every single time takes energy.
Here is Kitts flashing open. Kitts had 9 first quarter points. Kitts lobs it inside to Cardoso. Cardoso unable to finish over Morrow.
But that time, a better job wanting the basketball, as Dawn Staley mentioned, demanding it, looking for it.
Michaela Williams dumps it down. Reese, good position, and the flip. Reese with 5 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. And a foul here against Van Lith, as it'll stay with South Carolina. South Carolina has won 14 straight meetings against LSU. Last loss for the Gamecocks came back in 2012 in Baton Rouge. Kitts able to claw it away and get the foul. Chloe Kitts will shoot 2.
She's just working so incredibly hard. And Camila Cardoso is a very good passer. And she sees the opportunity to deliver into her postmate and gets it to her.
We were talking to Camila about that today, and she said, I feel like I've always been a good passer, but yes, it's improved.
She has, and Dawn Staley has talked about in past years, I need her to pass less and look to score more.
Yeah. Kitts unable to hit the first free throw. See Raven Johnson getting some direction from Dawn Staley. Chloe Kitts just 68% from the line. And hits the second.
If there's an Achilles heel for this South Carolina team, it's been at the free throw line this season.
They are 266th in Division I. They shoot at 67% as a team. Here's Morrow, the crossover, then was left alone, couldn't finish it. Reese on the follow, no, and a whistle against South Carolina.
Rachel Reese is relentless. She is absolutely relentless on the offensive glass, and Carolyn Peck in the pregame show said South Carolina was going to send 2 bodies to her. Well, I don't know how many bodies have been on her, but they haven't been able to prevent her from getting there.
Already more rebounds tonight for Reese than she had in these teams' meetings last season, as Reese lays it in off the inbound from Van Lith.
Incredible Michaela Williams screen there.
9-point LSU lead against undefeated South Carolina. Here's Kitts, and again Kitts able to get the whistle. Nifty little catch there from Kitts afterwards as well.
See on the out-of-bounds play, Michaela Williams. Oof, Camila Cardoso just runs her right over. That could have been a foul there.
Meanwhile, the foul on this end called against Reese. That is the first on Angel Reese. And Kitts misses that free throw badly. Sanaya Fagan, Chloe Kitts, Tessa Johnson, Raven Johnson, and Tahina Paopao, the 5 for South Carolina, as you see Cardoso on the bench. For LSU, Angel Reese, Anissa Morrow, Flau'jae Johnson, Michaela Williams, and Haley Van Lith. Their starting 5 remains on the floor. Here's Williams. Oh, what a look inside, and Reese lays it in. A sensational pass from Michaela Williams.
Box overload, completely empty the left side of the floor so you can throw that lob pass into Reese with no help side in sight.
This match is the largest deficit South Carolina has faced this season. Johnson spinning and hitting. Raven Johnson has had a few momentum settling buckets already in this first half. Meanwhile, Reese has the last 6 for LSU.
Same play, box overload again.
And again, Reese able to grab and lay. Reese 11 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Paopao dumps it down. Fagan sheds Reese and banks it home. Reese had to be careful as well, already with 1 foul.
And that's why it's so important for South Carolina's bigs to post up hard, post up strong, because it's a way that you can get Angel Reese out of the game by getting her in foul trouble.
Here's Van Lith.
Here it is again.
Morrow. And a 3-second violation call.
So what do we have? These players going to the corner. It's going to result in a box, and this whole area of the floor is going to be open. No help side can come in to get Angel Reese to give Kitts any help. And so what happens? This is the next play. Same box overload, same result. They just ran it for a 3rd time, but we're looking for a high post drive.
Paopao couldn't finish. LSU finally goes to their bench. Leah Del Rosario into the game. Here's Johnson. On the drive, lays it in. Knock away by Williams. Thinking about it, taking. No. And Kim Mulkey did not love the field goal attempt.
Flau'jae does a great decision, steps back. You have to respect her from the 3-point line, but that's her game, the explosiveness to the bucket. We do need the Mulkey cam.
I think Kim Mulkey also liked that she passed up the 3 and went to the rim. Little different reaction when Williams just pulled up. See how Kitts and Johnson have got it done for South Carolina. Rest of the team has struggled. Inside, Fagan, the athletic board and put back.
But again, the lack of sharing the basketball, lack of switching sides of the floor for South Carolina when it's been such a big and important part of what they've done this season.
Heard Holly ask Coach Staley about that at the end of the first quarter. Morrow and Kitts get into it, and it's going to be an offensive foul on Anissa Morrow. That will be her 2nd personal.
2 players who are really battling inside, posting up hard, and Anissa Morrow feels like she's getting hit and bumped from Kitts, and right here, the elbow comes, and that's the foul that is called.
So Morrow checks out with those 2 fouls. Reese back in for LSU. Kitts will take, can't hit. Del Rosario able to save the board. Here's Williams. Hastily down the floor, explodes to the cup. Couldn't reverse it in. Now South Carolina coming the other way. Hall all the way in, got swallowed up.
Big minutes for Del Rosario. She has been impactful in a very brief amount of time here on the defensive end.
The freshman center, and a 10-second violation called on LSU. But a 9-point lead in Baton Rouge for the hometown Tigers. Everybody getting it done, including this crowd. PMAC is rocking. Coming up, Jeep halftime report, a first half recap, and what to watch for from our outstanding crew. Drea, Coach Peck, L, all in the building as we send things over to Holly Rowe.
Listening into that last LSU huddle, they talked about that overload play, Rebecca, that you have diagrammed well. They want to continue running that and make sure they're rebounding out of it. And then Kim Mulkey really challenged Flau'jae Johnson. Flau'jae has been face guarding Tahina Paopao, kind of the head of this South Carolina Snake, and she said she's got one shot. She can't have any more. They are trying to take Paopao out of this game with Flau'jae Johnson's defense.
Right on cue. You see her denying, using her length, using her arms, using her quickness and speed to try to keep the ball out of her hands. Great job, Holly.
And Paopao just 1 of 4 from the floor, just 2 assists in this first half. Gives it up here. Johnson separates and gets blocked. Looked like could have been a foul. Del Rosario involved again for LSU. We also see last tier Poa into the game for the first time tonight. Here is Poa, third in Division I in charges drawn. We saw her draw a couple of big ones against Caitlin Clark in the national championship game last season. Reese fading away, can't get it in. Del Rosario banks it home, plus the foul.
It is not one side, it's the other. I mean, Angel Reese is posting up strong, forced into a fadeaway, and Del Rosario is just too big. Chloe Kitts is not able to push her back on the box out, and Del Rosario gets the opportunity for the and one.
Well, Leah Del Rosario from the Bronx, New York. A freshman, 6 foot 6 inches, the number 7 overall recruit of this freshman class. According to us at ESPNW, as Kitts last touched it, it's LSU basketball.
But for Del Rosario as a freshman to come into this moment, this environment, I understand it's a friendly crowd still, and perform the way she has, kudos to her.
At a critical time as well. You had Reese pick up her first, get her first breather on the bench, and then shortly after that, Morrow picks up her second, has to go to the bench. Del Rosario has been out there for a while now here in this second quarter and contributed nicely.
And the Bigs have also put fouls on South Carolina, on both Fagan and Ashlyn Watkins, both with two big players for South Carolina who have foul trouble.
Maybe just checking the clock here. Gives us a chance to let you know men's college basketball has a triple-header on ESPN Saturday afternoon. First at noon Eastern, Kansas State takes on number 4 Houston, then at 2. Number 3 UNC is in Tallahassee to play Florida State. And finally at 4 p.m., Clemson faces number 12 Duke at Cameron Indoor. Men's
the game clock will be set to 3:55.
Saturday at noon, 2 and 4 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app.
Official didn't know you were in the middle of a promo.
Gina Cross actually came over before the game. She said, I have one goal tonight. It's to be a part of the broadcast, reading a promo. So, Gina, I got you. By the way, you know, a lot of times we walk into arenas and they're cold. In fact, the audience may not know this, but you often have a sweatshirt draped over your legs during a broadcast. This arena is sweltering as Wiley goes dashing in with the layup.
These last 3.5 minutes are going to be important for both of these teams because South Carolina can score quickly, especially on opportunities where they get steals or defensive boards and push in transition.
Oh, Raven Johnson nearly came up with another right on cue. And Poa will check out. Williams back in for LSU. LSU lost a key piece of the rotation late November. Samaya Smith who had been averaging nearly 12 points, 7.5 rebounds per game, tore ACL. Reese nearly throws it away. Good pressure from Phil Wiley. Here's Reese. The mid-range, short.
She was looking to pass, but then she saw that the shot clock was ticking down.
Phil Wiley glides in, dishes out, gets it back, will take, and hit from three. Malaysia Phil Wiley, who Dawn Staley has called a generational talent.
She can be a game changer. She absolutely can be a game changer, and what an impact she's had here.
And you can hear South Carolina fans now trying to get going here in Baton Rouge. Here's Williams, another freshman. Bounces underneath. Del Rosario can't finish. Cardoso secures the rebound. For Wiley, gets it back, will fire. No. Offensive board. The putback won't go for Fagan, but free throws coming for Sanaya Fagan.
For Wiley is quick and athletic, and she just does a great job poking the ball away from Angel Reese, and we've seen how good she can be in transition in terms of finishing and also stepping in to the three ball with confidence. She's been a difference maker in these few minutes.
Fagan can't hit the free throw. South Carolina now 1 of 5 from the line. LSU just 1 of 4. Fagan missed them both. Williams the rebound. Williams back to Reese. Williams pull up. Line drive attempt, no good. For Wiley, look out from behind. Had it poked by Johnson. Flau'jae Johnson lays it in.
I think Angel Reese is a little fatigued right now, and that was a nice opportunity. She just stayed in the backcourt, catch her breath a little bit.
Pow, probing, dishing to the corner. Johnson in and out. Good effort on the glass from Fagan, no whistle. Here comes Reese. 1:30 to go in the first half. Flau'jae connects.
Stepping into it with confidence. Flau'jae Johnson. Fly, Flau'jae, fly. LSU up by 11.
Flau'jae Johnson had such a terrific freshman season, but has really improved her game this season. You see the field goal percentages rise, and in this game, very efficient. 4 of 6 from the floor, 9 points, and a big 3 there. Just as it felt like South Carolina was starting to gain a little momentum, 5 straight points from LSU.
Yeah, and Flau'jae Johnson has just made the right decision every time. We saw her see the pump fake and then the drive to the basket. That was the right decision there to take the 3. Holly documented how she's had the tough defensive assignment on Tahina Pow. She has been very, very impactful on both ends of the floor.
A sophomore who is the first McDonald's All-American that Coach Mulkey brought to LSU. Here's Pow off to Cardoso. Flau'jae with the contest on Cardoso to help alter the attempt.
Angel Reese has one job here. It's not to pick up another foul in the last 57 seconds.
The PMAC has been incredible. Scintillating atmosphere here in Baton Rouge. Williams hooks it back. Van Lith, 7 to shoot, will pull. No. Rebound Cardoso, 10-second difference, game and shot clock. Cardoso, deep catch, got banged and still finished. A chance for three for Camila Cardoso.
Posts up strong, turns, the help comes over. Is that foul on Flau'jae Johnson?
Yes. Number one on Flau'jae. Only player on LSU with two is Anissa Morrow. Watkins and Fagan with two apiece for South Carolina. Cardoso hits the free throw. And LSU can hold for one. 8-point lead for the Tigers. Remember, LSU has dropped 14 straight meetings against South Carolina. Haley Van Lith, 10 seconds left. Van Lith's floater won't go. Rebound Johnson, and still time for South Carolina now. Van Lith went too early. Here's Wiley, connecting on a three. Huge finish to the second for South Carolina. They trail by 5, but I'll feel a whole lot better going into the locker room. Holly Rose with Angel Reese.
Well, Angel, how hard has it been in there? Your offensive rebounding, trying to defend Camila Cardoso. It seems like a great battle so far.
I feel like I'm doing a great job defensively. I'm not doing the best offensively, but I'm doing as best as I can. Anissa getting in foul trouble will hurt us a little bit, but she's been doing great. I think that's the matchup for tonight that we're going to beat.
You know that they are going to start coming on. South Carolina does that in the second half. What will you have to be mindful of?
Just making sure we're ready. I mean, they have a bigger depth than us, and we just have to make sure we're not getting tired, getting as much water as we can, and keeping the energy up.
Thank you so much.
Malaysia for Wiley, so impactful, already with 8 points in only 5 minutes. Coming down, understanding how much time is left, steps right into it, smooth like butter.
Van Lith went early. Wiley made LSU pay. LSU leads by 5 at the half, though. After the break, we'll be back with Elle Duncan, Andrea Carter, Carolyn Peck for tonight's Jeep halftime. That's coming up next on a Thursday night in Baton Rouge. A vibrant atmosphere in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. A battle between the last two national champions in the first half. Had a little bit of everything with LSU and South Carolina. As we welcome you back to We Back Pat as we honor Pat Summitt and her continued impact on women's basketball. Welcoming you back courtside. Hey again, everybody. Ryan Rucco alongside the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. An incredibly exciting first half, and both teams have things they can feel good about as we get ready to start this third quarter.
And certainly for LSU, they did an outstanding job on the offensive glass. South Carolina outshot them in terms of percentage, but LSU just got 9 more attempts. This possession early in the game set the tone. 1 offensive rebound. I feel like the count, 2 offensive rebounds. Thank you. 3 offensive rebounds. Give it to me one more time. I mean, they were just all over the offensive glass. 10 offensive boards in that first half. 11 second chance points. And for South Carolina, we talked about them being the best field goal percentage-wise, 3-point shooting team in the country. And they're going to need some more of this here in the second half. Wiley running the floor, losing her defender. Tahina Powell stepping into one. They ended the first quarter and the second quarter with a last-second 3. They need to get more of those good looks mixed in here in the third quarter.
Now for tonight's game track, brought to you by E-Trade. You see Reese, Johnson, and Morrow with 30 of LSU's 41 points. The offensive glass, which Rebecca talked about, and Powell and Cardoso combined for just 6 points in that first half. Only the second time South Carolina has trailed at the half this season. The other was against North Carolina on November 30th. The game they went on to win by 7. A turnover from LSU to begin this third quarter. Here's Powell cutting through, flipping up and off. Rebound whacked out of bounds. Looked like it had last touched South Carolina. And they're going to say it deflected off LSU.
It was a good-looking possession, though, for South Carolina. They switched sides of the floor. They got some action. They got Powell coming off a stagger screen. Good look in the paint as well.
Here's Cardoso, center of the lane, lays it in. That's a good start for South Carolina.
Great job. She just buried Angel Reese under the bucket. All you have to do is catch, turn, and score when you get that kind of offensive position.
Here's Morrow turning and can't hit. Morrow spent much of the end of that second on the bench with 2 fouls. She had 10 points in 15 minutes in that first half. Here's Pow off the mark. Morrow gets fouled. Kitts was there along with Cardoso, and it's Chloe Kitts who gets whistled for her second.
I love the way Anissa Morrow rebounds, and Camila Cardoso had good inside position on Angel Reese, and it was Morrow who got in there and ensured that Cardoso didn't get that board.
South Carolina finished the first half on a little 6-0 burst. They score the first bucket of the third quarter as well. LSU's lead has been as large as 11. It's 3 now. Morrow's mid-range is good. Anissa Morrow showing her range in this contest. The DePaul transfer. Cardoso, Van Lith comes. Cardoso passes out of it. Here's Pow. Back iron, no. Cardoso the rebound and a lot of contact. Van Lith gets whistled for the foul on the floor.
The sheer size, Camila Cardoso is able to reach up and just grab that offensive board.
6'7" senior center. And they're going to call that on Angel Reese, her second. So thought it would be on Van Lith. Instead, it's Reese's second. Here's Kitts diving in, can't bank it home. Loose ball, Raven Johnson has it. Her layup is good. And it's a 3-point game once again.
And now we have South Carolina doing what we've grown accustomed to, and that's get second and third opportunities by hitting the glass.
And you can hear the South Carolina faithful here trying to get into it now. As Johnson gets called for the charge. Hall took the contact for South Carolina. And Kim Mulkey calling a timeout. Very upset with the way her team has started this second half.
Timeout. LSU, 30-second timeout.
Tennessee has won the national championship. 34+ seasons, 1,000 career wins.
History happened here.
Pat Summitt and Destiny have met.
Her eyes, her intensity, her strength will always be remembered.
No matter how much success you have in life, that doesn't make you a bigger or a better person than anyone else. And all I want to do, because of the position I have, is somehow help other people.
Well, Pat Summitt has helped so many people. I'm one of them. She has been so empowering and uplifting to women in basketball, and I like to think that Pat would be so proud of what is happening here in Baton Rouge. Look at this crowd. One of the winningest to ever do it, 8 national championships, but she lifted everyone up around her. And, you know, I think of the national championships back in Cleveland this year. That was last time Pat was there in Cleveland. She won the national championship. And just want to really shout out Pat Summitt and her legacy. We all still feel it to this day.
Certainly helped lay the foundation for what we're seeing in terms of excitement in the women's game right now.
Can only imagine what the atmosphere will be like in Cleveland this April after the momentum that has been built, certainly in recent years, but especially what we've seen over the last 12 months. Here's Hall. Off to Kitts. Kitts, shot clock fading, no problem for Chloe Kitts, who has 12 points on 5 of 7 shooting, and the LSU lead is down to 1.
Good looks in that possession, all because Camila Cardoso was posting up hard and strong.
Here's Morrow. And a whistle going the other way. Williams gets called for the offensive foul. And Kim Mulkey is not enamored with the call.
Bottom right of your screen, you see her making a cut across the lane. That wasn't a whole lot of contact considering what we've seen in the paint so far this game.
And I believe Kim Mulkey got a warning, an official one, after that. Here's Johnson. In and out on a three, long rebound. Kidd's able to save it just momentarily. It was out of bounds. LSU ball.
How about South Carolina, just a couple minutes into this third quarter, had already matched their offensive rebound total from the first half. Already has matched their second chance points from the first half. Just a different energy level on that end.
Now we heard Al and Coach Beck and Drea talking about South Carolina, the best second half team in the country. Hey, South Carolina's next game Sunday afternoon on SEC Network. Beginning at 3 Eastern, Vanderbilt in Columbia to take on South Carolina. The Gamecocks have not lost since last season's national semifinal. SEC Women's College Basketball Sunday at 3 Eastern on SEC Network and the ESPN app.
Picking up in some full court pressure. Sometimes that's just a little extra to give your team energy.
Reese gets swallowed up by Cardoso, gives a little stare afterwards, and her teammates like the fire.
She's a different level of life here in this third quarter than we saw in the first half, both on the offensive and defensive ends.
Crowd saw the replay, wanted a foul. Not sure there was a foul there as Morrow banks it in. And Issa Morrow now 14 points to lead the way for LSU. Angel Reese with 11 and 7 boards. Here's Cardoso. Denied by Reese. Williams. No.
Much better job boxing out by South Carolina.
Williams 2 of 10 from the floor as Pow Pow leaves it short. Morrow able to control the rebound. Reese separates and lays it in. The steal. Here's Van Lith. Van Lith weaving, taking, no. And not a great field goal attempt there from Haley Van Lith. Oh, what a find, and Kitts lays it in.
Sometimes a bad decision on a field goal attempt works like a turnover, and that's what happened there with Van Lith taking a suspect shot and then South Carolina getting a layup the other way. Tough, tough finish by Kitts.
Van Lith 2 of 8, Williams 2 for 10. Here's Williams fading. That one drops. Michaela Williams 3 of 5 from 2 in this game. She is 0 of 6 from 3. Great dish inside, and then Reese, the emphatic rejection. Johnson. Rajay Johnson has been poised all night. Reese will take and take. "15 points, 8 rebounds for Reese. Kitts swimming through. Nice dish. Cardoso on the follow. Yes. More impactful second half already from Cardoso as Kitts comes up with a knockaway, and Reese is going to get hit with her 3rd foul. So personal number 3 on Angel Reese.
We've seen some tenacious defense on both ends of the floor. Shot blockers doing shot blocking kind of things. Camila Cardoso gets it. Turns and looks on the other end. Angel Reese turns and looks. You guys don't look away.
When Doug and Andre came to TurboTax,
we navigated a turbulent housing market by
buying a motorhome. But we didn't know the first thing about filing taxes as first-time home buyers.
I knew how to make their move count. We file taxes for millions of new homeowners and guarantee 100% accuracy. on land and sea.
Was that a shark?
Yes.
Make your moves count. Intuit TurboTax. 100% accuracy guaranteed.
When you have a history of greatness, you keep dreaming and go beyond what's possible. The new 2024 Ridgeline Passport and Pilot, part of our most rugged trail sport lineup yet. From Honda.
The new Sonic Peanut Butter Bacon Shake is here. Who knew that creamy peanut butter and crispy bacon hand mixed together would make the ultimate savory and sweet shake? Well, we did. We knew. It's peanut butter bacon time at Sonic.
Welcome back to Baton Rouge, where Angel Reese just picked up her third foul. She's posting. She is open if the ball gets thrown to her left hand. Instead, it's thrown to her right hand, causing her to reach and get the foul. Ryan, that's on the guard. You do not set me up for my third foul. You got to get it to me right in my paw so I can get the lay.
Every once in a while, but we try not to as we send things over on target to Holly Rowe.
Well, you see, Kim Mulkey has taken Haley Van Lith out of the game. 2 tough possessions in that last stretch, and I saw Coach Mulkey turn to the bench and say, get Haley out. Haley has told me, Kim coaches me hard, but I want that. She's getting coached hard right now on a couple of her poor decisions.
Well, and just like that, a 3-point game again.
Tahina Pow just with a powerful drive on last tier Poa. I got my Pow and Poa on one another.
There you
finally
go.
This game.
And Poa throws it away. Now Van Lith is going to go in and get Poa as Kim Mulkey immediately signals for Haley Van Lith to come back in. Angel Reese on the bench now after picking up that third foul. Does South Carolina take advantage? Here's Fagan into Cardoso. Cardoso cuts in for 2. It's a 1-point game.
Completely different player here in the second half. Camila Cardoso is just really working so hard, demanding the ball.
Poa trying to shed her defender and banks it in wildly. Felt like a fortunate possession for LSU.
That's one of those ones you look to the side, I'm coming out, I'm getting a shot up.
Pow, great feed, and Fagan had the corner turned, lays it in. 53-52, LSU in front. South Carolina, the lone remaining undefeated Division I team. Deflected out of bounds, stays here as Van Lith and Reese will come in for LSU. Reese will have to be judicious with her aggression, playing with 3 fouls. She's had a really strong night. 15 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and a couple of blocks. Van Lith into Johnson. Flauget dips into a whistle as she felt the body of Pow.
For Wiley, just defensively, was doing a really nice job disrupting Haley Van Lith. You can get up into her, and as Holly talked about, she's learning that point guard position this year, and pressure at times can bother her.
Reese will come back out. And Del Rosario back in for LSU. Hall goes out for South Carolina. So it's for Wiley, Fagan, Cardoso, Raven Johnson, and Pow for South Carolina. It is Williams, Van Lith, Flauget, Johnson, Morrow, and then Del Rosario for LSU.
Del Rosario has good size to go against Cardoso, and hopefully if you're LSU trying to buy a last couple minutes where Angel Reese does not pick up another foul in this quarter.
Pow. Fagan looking down to the corner, extra feed. Pow. Knocked away, what a steal from Morrow. Running the break with Van Lith. Van Lith spinning and finishing.
Wow, that was a tough finish, surrounded by a lot of defenders by Haley Van Lith.
Cardoso was jumping up and down as Del Rosario had fallen. For Wiley can't hit the 3. Loose ball, South Carolina has it. More offensive boards in this third than they had the entire first half. 6 of them. Raven Johnson fading away, leaves it short. Rebound secured by Morrow. Her 8th board. Laje Johnson just got into the front court there.
You look like a ghost scared you when you saw her. Looked like she was going to get backcourt violation.
Backcourt violations do that to me. Laje, 6 to shoot. Into the corner. Williams has to pull. Can't hit. And that's going to be a shot clock violation against LSU, as Williams is now 0 for 7 from 3.
Player who makes 40% from 3, he shoots 50% from the field.
We asked Michaela Williams before the game, have there been any moments this year where she's felt like a freshman because it hasn't looked like it? Maybe this is one of those moments, or maybe she's just having a tough day shooting. Paul on the drive, can't clip it in, loose ball, knocked away. LSU has some time. Johnson will launch, nearly got it to go, and that'll do it for the 3rd. Kim Mulkey, and that glittery jacket. Chat with Holly Rowe in just a moment. 4th quarter coming up. LSU a 4-point lead over undefeated South Carolina as we get ready to start the 4th quarter. What's on the line? Well, a lot. South Carolina, the only remaining undefeated Division I team at LSU, has not beaten an AP #1 team since 2008 at Tennessee. Moments ago, Holly Rowe caught up with Kim Mulkey.
Well, Coach Mulkey, how do you communicate the importance of shot selection in this 4th quarter with your team?
Well, we got to rebound the ball. The beginning of the quarter, they were behind and they played with a little bit more energy. We didn't, so I called the timeout. Angel gets her 3rd on something that she shouldn't have because of something a teammate didn't do. So you live, you learn, you grow. Look, we're competing. That's a darn good team over there. They've been in these situations. My team hasn't. And I think if we can just compete a little bit here, you never know what might happen.
Angel Reese just comes and said, hey, can I go back in right now? And you're like, yes. How important will she be down the stretch?
Well, I tried to get her off the floor in the 3rd quarter on the defensive end and put big freshman Aaliyah in, and she did fine. So now you got 2 fouls you can play with, so let's go play.
Thank you, Coach.
Angel Reese on the night, 15 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks, and those 3 fouls, which she will have to try and navigate as we take a look at our Good Hands player, brought to you by Allstate. It is indeed Angel Reese.
Angel Reese has had very good hands and good feet as well, blocking shots, getting to the offensive glass, finishing inside. But yeah, it always feels good when you can block somebody a few inches taller and even got that mid-range shot to fall.
Here we go. The PMAC has been electrifying since long before tip. Cardoso bodying into Reese. Reese had to be careful. And it's out of bounds off of Williams to the chance here for South Carolina.
Smart play. You know Angel Reese has 3 fouls, go right into whoever she's defending, and there it was Cardoso.
Here's Hall. The ball fake, the attack. Couldn't bank it in. A good opportunity there for South Carolina. Unable to finish. Laje nifty. Laje Johnson.
Angel telling her, let's set up the offense. Leads me to believe Angel wants to be a part of it. Maybe setting a high ball screener, posting up.
Here's Van Lith. For Wiley has gotten into Van Lith. Oh, nice dish from Van Lith, and what a rejection from Hall. For Wiley. Lobs it in. Kicks. Can't lay it home. Morrow the rebound. 10th rebound for Morrow, who also has 14 points. She and Angel Reese are double-double machines. 66 in the career of Anissa Morrow. Williams full head of steam. Nice setup there and a whistle.
Yeah, really well done set.
Let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, when Anissa Morrow decided to transfer here, a lot of people thought, how will she coexist with fellow big Angel Reese? Well, it was actually Angel Reese sitting in on her recruiting visit saying, I need you here. I want to win with you by my side. She said, Angel is constantly empowering me, particularly when it comes to rebounding. And she said, you know, I do have a rebounding talent. It has been an adjustment from DePaul. It's a little faster. Players are a little bigger, so she's had to adjust her timing, her jump. But she has been a quick learner, and I love that it was Anissa Morrow and Angel Reese saying, no, we want to collaborate together. And Angel told me, Anissa's made me better by being here and practicing against me.
You see the career for Morrow. Active rank in points per game, rebounds, double-doubles, top 3 in all. Caitlin Clark, the leader in those points per game among active players. 5-point LSU lead.
Wow, great defense by Williams stepping over that screen.
Hall thought about it. Can't find space. Shot clock down to 6. Pow off to Johnson. Her jumper won't go, but a whistle underneath on Reese.
Oh,
and
no.
that is going to be her 4th.
I don't think that's a good call. It looked to me like she and Camila Cardoso are just boxing one another out. The crowd just saw it on the big board. We'll have a chance to get a second look at it as well. So shot goes up. Unless when Reese falls on the ground and then they call the trip of Cardoso on Reese, because laying on the ground isn't legal position, but I'm surprised anything was called right there.
The call on the floor was on Angel Reese, number 10 for LSU. The play is under review for an intentional foul.
They're going to take a look at this. We're going to step aside and be back. 4th quarter action in Baton Rouge.
What even is this? Don't touch my things, gross. Janice, when you bundle your home or renters with your auto, Progressive provides 24/7 protection for almost everything you own. But do you really need my weighted hoop? It's for my snatched waist. It's my dog chaise lounger. Foot treadmill. That's my Tuesday chalice. Purse that says purse. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy chamber. I can't live without oxygen. Solid gold coffee machine. Lake making kit. Really? Can Progressive cover that too? Yes, but... Hi, it's Janice. I'll take 5. Is my voice on TV right now?
When Doug and Andre came to TurboTax,
We navigated a turbulent housing market by
buying a motorhome. But we didn't know the first thing about filing taxes as first-time home buyers.
I knew how to make their move count. We file taxes for millions of new homeowners and guarantee 100% accuracy on land and sea.
Was that a shark?
yes.
Make your moves count. Intuit TurboTax, 100% accuracy guaranteed.
Well, this foul was being reviewed to see whether or not it should be upgraded to an intentional foul on Angel Reese. It was not upgraded, but was confirmed to be a foul. As you saw, Angel Reese with that left hand actually grabbed jersey.
Fistful of jersey.
Yes, of Cardoso. So number 4 on Angel Reese as we send things over to Holly Rowe.
Well, Angel Reese is beside herself right now. She's so frustrated that she has to be out of the game right now. She was in the huddle trying to encourage her teammates. This is a lot of brand new faces out on the floor right now for LSU. One player from that national championship, Flau'jae Johnson, in the moments right now.
Of course, South Carolina also with a completely different team, or at least different roles for the incumbent players as Pow flips it in. South Carolina graduating that freshie class they had for 4 years with so much success, led by Aaliyah Boston, who was at shoot-around today for South Carolina. Morrow, great first step and lays it in. Pow, she got it. on a huge three.
What did Dawn Staley tell us earlier today?
She seeks the big moments.
That was one of them.
Dawn Staley saying she has never coached a guard like Pow Pow, lauded her mental acumen and talked about the way she hunts big shots. What a finish, same play.
Same exact play that we saw that put Williams at the free throw line.
Oh, the other end, denied. Morrow said no.
Anissa Morrow just comes in and has great timing. Make sure she does not get any body for a foul.
Four-point LSU lead. Pow Pow cutting through the D, gets swallowed up out of bounds. Last touched LSU. And it will stay with South Carolina. Hall's jumper is good. Bree Hall sticks a huge jumper. The LSU lead is 2. South Carolina's only lead of this game was 2-0. LSU is led by as many as 11. Morrow, difficult shot, not a good decision. Pow Pow around the screen. Weaving, Pow Pow can't bank it in, got the whistle. Tahina Pow Pow will shoot 2. Hey, women's college basketball is featured on ESPN Sunday, starting at 3 Eastern. Tennessee takes on Ole Miss in an SEC conference showdown. The Lady Vols have won 9 of the last 10 matchups against the Rebels and will look to extend their win streak in Oxford. Women's college basketball between Tennessee and Ole Miss, Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. Pow Pow makes it a 1-point game. Morrow picks up her third. Let's send things over to Holly.
Well, Dawn Staley saying, you know, she's like unlike any guard I've ever coached. And when we asked Tahina about that, she said that's what a point guard does. I organize this team and hold my teammates accountable. She has got this calming, poised presence in big moments. And you're seeing right now in the fourth quarter, the biggest moments of this game, it is her poise that is getting them back in it.
61 all. Williams missed it badly. Hall flags it down. And here comes South Carolina. A chance to take the lead. Cardoso lays it in. South Carolina, its first lead since it was 2-0, and Aaliyah Boston delighting in it. Timeout LSU.
Cardoso has just been an absolute difference maker, a separator, as Dawn Staley calls her here in the second half. Just cannot handle her with one defender inside.
Hey, tonight, after our game, we'll send you the Australian Open and the men's semifinal preview show. Then at 10:30 Eastern, number 1 Novak Djokovic will play number 4 Jannik Sinner. Djokovic has gone on to win the title in Melbourne every time he's reached the semifinals. He's 20-0 in both the semi and the final. The Australian Open men's semifinal tonight at 10:30 on ESPN and the ESPN app. 11-4, South Carolina has outscored LSU since Reese went out with her 4th foul, and no surprise, Kim Mulkey not going to wait any longer. Reese back into the game.
You would certainly expect her to get a touch on the offensive end, considering she's in, and then South Carolina the other way will go right at her.
LSU has won 29 straight home games. South Carolina 27 straight road wins. Van Lith spins, difficult shot, got it to go, plus the foul.
LSU working on this play in their shoot-around today, just pitching it back, and the initial shot was not there. But a nice job by Van Lith creating something out of nothing.
looked like her father had gone down a significant amount of stairs to celebrate that bucket.
He tends to do that.
Corey's in good shape, so I'm sure he can handle it. As Van Lith completes the three-point play. Haley's mom, Jessica, there as well. LSU back in front. Pow. Underneath, Watkins, who's been quiet tonight, a big finish there.
A great decision by Pow. Drop it off to the player who Angel Reese is guarding. You saw Angel Reese have to step away, so she didn't come close to picking up her fifth.
1 point South Carolina lead. This game has lived up to the hype.
It certainly has.
Van Lith with space, jitters, takes, can't hit. Here comes Pow. Watkins pushes a pass out of bounds. LSU ball. 4:51 to go in the fourth. South Carolina, a 65-64 lead on LSU. The Gamecocks, the lone remaining undefeated team in Division I. Williams, the freshman, back to Reese. Williams in the corner. You bet! Her first three of the night had missed her first seven, and South Carolina throws it away. I think Angel Reese either has a cramp or hurt her hamstring, pointing to the back of her leg and communicating to Kim Mulkey she needed a timeout.
Kim Mulkey said, I'm not taking you out, but I will take a timeout. I mean, it is so hot in here. These players are playing so hard, playing extended minutes, in particular, the main guns for LSU.
But a big moment here, Rebecca, because momentum all of a sudden had shifted to LSU. LSU ends up spending a timeout at a time when maybe South Carolina would have wanted to, and now LSU just has one timeout remaining.
Absolutely, equally as important. A close game like this, you want to have as many timeouts as possible for that last minute where you can use them to advance the basketball.
Let's send things over to Holly Rowe.
Well, this entire athletic training staff at LSU just sprang into action. Angel Reese rubbing out those thighs and hamstrings. They've got a Theragun on her. They've been giving her liquids, electrolyte gummies. Everybody, all hands on deck, trying to get Angel to stop cramping right now and keep her back in this ball game with 4:28 to play.
It's been a very clear difference when Angel Reese is on or off the floor. Since coming back in, LSU has taken the lead back. They have the basketball. Reese remains out there. 15 points, 8 rebounds, playing with those 4 fouls and giving this crowd a lot to dance about.
South Carolina had turnover trouble early in this game, but had seemed to correct it. But the last couple of possessions, the turnover bug has bitten them again.
Here's Van Lith. Morrow. A patient possession here from LSU. Williams got fouled on the floor. Watkins whistled for it. It will be Watkins' third.
Kayla Williams should have to respect because she can drive to the right side, pull up.
Van Lith throws it away on the inbound. Here comes Johnson, blurring into the front court, and that's number 5 on Reese. Angel Reese just picked up her 5th foul. And it's the second time a poor Haley Van Lith pass has led to a Reese foul.
Reese absolutely 100% cannot pick up her 5th foul in that moment, in that situation. Just has to be a little bit more disciplined. But yes, it's the turnover that led to it in the first place. She thinks she can get her hand on the basketball. You absolutely cannot reach there.
Johnson hits the first. So now LSU have to try to get to the finish line without Angel Reese, as Johnson ties it at 67.
I've liked some of this action with Michaela Williams pitching to a post and then getting a running start to try to get the basketball back.
Here's the freshman Williams off to Morrow, turning the corner, can't hit the jumper. Del Rosario couldn't get the whistle. Cardoso, deep catch, and a travel on Cardoso as South Carolina turns it over. You mentioned it, Rebecca, early in the game, South Carolina turned it over 3 times. First couple minutes they had settled down, but in this fourth, over the last few minutes, they've started to turn it over again.
3 in the last 4 or 5 possessions.
Here's Van Lith. Off to Williams, tied at 67. Williams 3, rims out. Williams supremely confident. Johnson, the crossover, the kick. South Carolina's bench wanted Hall to take that 3.
She's been shooting the 3 ball really well this season.
She did not pull. Here's Pow Pow. Hall will take that one and hit. 49% on the season and none bigger than that delivery. South Carolina 3-point lead. Reese is fouled out. LSU has just 1 timeout remaining. Williams cups it up and off. Hall the rebound. An opportunity for South Carolina to make it a 2-possession lead.
I really
settles it down.
Yeah, I really like the patience she's been playing with the last couple possessions.
10 to shoot. Pow Pow. No. Van Lith the board. Here's Van Lith. Looking for help. Morrow gets it back. Van Lith. Come in. Come in. Timeout, South Carolina, as Angel Reese gives Haley Van Lith a pep talk. Huge 3s for both teams. First Hall able to hit for South Carolina, and then Van Lith for LSU. And you can see how fired up Haley Van Lith is.
And first of all, a great pass by Anissa Morrow, losing her balance a bit. Van Lith just steps right into it confidently.
Well, one of the things that Angel Reese told Holly Rowe is, or Haley Van Lith told Holly Rowe, is nobody encourages her to shoot more than Angel Reese. We saw that after the 3, saying, hey, you keep being aggressive. As you see what's at stake for both of these teams in a huge SEC matchup. South Carolina, the only remaining undefeated team this season. They're on a 27-game road winning streak. They have a 36-game regular season win streak against the SEC. 1:37 to go, and it's tied at 70. They changed that timeout from South Carolina to LSU. So LSU is now out of timeouts. Interesting decision from Kim Mulkey. Here's Pow Pow, dumping it down in the corner. Hall, she got it. Another 3 for Bree Hall. South Carolina back up by 3, and LSU is out of timeouts. Here's Williams, back to Van Lith to tie. No. Rebound Cardoso and a foul against Del Rosario. That'll be the 4th team foul on LSU.
Bree Hall certainly quiet in the first half, no longer. A couple huge threes late in the 4th. LSU did not need a 3 there. They could certainly have played for 2.
Got a 20-second difference game and shot clock here, so LSU can play straight up D. Johnson letting it wind, and now Dawn Staley's going to take a timeout. With 36 on the game clock, 16 seconds on the shot clock. It's been an incredible test for both teams. South Carolina undefeated. They've been pushed a couple of times this season, but this certainly has been their strongest test. And for LSU, trying to hand South Carolina its first loss of the season, also trying to beat an AP #1 team for the first time since 2008, trying to beat South Carolina for the first time since 2012. They've dropped 14 straight against the Gamecocks.
South Carolina, a young team who has shown maturity here in a very tough environment, getting down early and then making some big shots late here in this 4th quarter.
And Angel Reese, just a spectator after fouling out. LSU has struggled when she has been on the bench. 16 on the shot clock, 36 seconds on the game clock. So LSU can play this straight up. Remember, the Tigers are out of timeouts.
Dawn wants to be within earshot in case she needs to call a timeout.
South Carolina still has 2 remaining. Here's Johnson, 8 to shoot. Johnson with 5 to shoot. Johnson on the attack. Johnson lays it in. Raven Johnson to the rescue. A 5-point South Carolina lead, their largest of the night.
You gotta go, LSU's gotta go.
Van Lith dishing out, Williams 3, no. Rebound Cardoso, and that should do it. Van Lith fouls Johnson, but South Carolina is going to escape victorious. An incredible crowd here at Baton Rouge. They were in their seats. This place completely full an hour before tip. And for much of this game, LSU controlled. But down the stretch, South Carolina made the plays they needed to, and the Gamecocks remain undefeated. They come into Louisiana and outslug LSU 76-70 the final. South Carolina snapping LSU's 29-game home winning streak.
South Carolina, different players making big plays in different moments. 5 players in double figures. Raven Johnson with a great drive near the end of the game. Bree Hall making huge threes. Camila Cardoso putting them in a position for those shots to matter. What a great team performance, gritty-gutty by South Carolina.
The South Carolina team with a completely new starting lineup with the same old winning ways, and Bree Hall was the hero down the stretch. She is with Holly Rowe.
Well, Bree, your team hasn't trailed much this season. You're down at the half. There was a different South Carolina team coming out of halftime. What happened?
I mean, we just told ourselves that we could stay in it, that there's 20 more minutes in the game, and that we could keep pushing through.
Down the stretch, you're starting to get some looks. The one you pass up and then they get it back to you for a long three. How would you hit those big shots in that big moment?
I don't know. I just stay composed. Honestly, I'm ready for the moment.
You've been shooting the three well. Again, with about a minute to go, another big three. How did you rise to that occasion?
Confidence, honestly, just staying in the gym all the time. And just when the time came, I was ready.
This was hard in here tonight. This crowd was crazy. It was wild. How did you stay composed as a team?
Honestly, my teammates, I mean, they just kept telling me to push through it.
Thank you so much, Bree.
Thank you.
Well, Bree, all 2 huge threes in the final minutes, each time with the game tied. And the last one ends up a game winner as South Carolina is able to hold off LSU 76-70, the final 28th straight road win for the Gamecocks. For our producer, Kerry Callahan, our director, Mike Roy, Holly Rowe, Rebecca Lobo, and our entire crew, I'm Ryan Rucco. Australian Open men's semi up next.